capturing that runoff, basically from the gutter line of Elliott Street, here and here before it gets into the garage.
Okay.
So, and inside those trench drains are an oil boom system, so it captures any oils and gases.
Right.
It absorbs them, and then that media gets replaced.
Right.
Over time.
Okay, where I was going was, I don't recall the strategy for containment, and what is given the development of the site and discharge, what are the guidelines for containment in terms of the volume that you need to withhold to extend that over the longest period of time?
In terms of the trench drain, there's no required volume of containment. It's, the oil booms are maintained, and if they reach saturation, they get replaced. That's a
Sure.
simple maintenance, $400 to $500 a year. If you're talking about inside the building, we're required to put an oil and a gas separator inside, and that falls under the jurisdiction of the plumbing code to be sized.
Okay, and you're saying that there's no containment requirement there, or
Well,
there's?
inside that structure, there's a small volume of containment, and again, the plumbing code dictates that.
Okay, and then this also catches all the rainwater coming off the roof, going into that same stormwater.
Well, so the parking system goes through the oil and gas separators. The roof runoff will be collected, and we're gonna route it through our drain pipe. So along the trunk line that we're proposing,
Yep.
we'll have a direct connection to the roof system, and that's what's gonna get routed to Pine Tree Brook. So the discharge from here
Yep.
is the building,
Right.
and any runoff from the short driveways here that go through the oil separation and the water quality focal point systems, that's what's going to Pine Tree Brook.
Is there a requirement for the building volume to have containment? To delay the discharge of that water into the into the system?
There is not.
There's no guideline for that?
There is a guideline. The requirement of the Mass DEP Stormwater Standards, number one,
Sure.
is that post-development runoff rates cannot exceed pre-development
Okay.
runoff
Yep.
rates.
Sure.
So that's the guideline that we operate under. And in this case, in this scenario, the existing site, as we've talked about before, is primarily building and paved. In this construction, we're actually reducing that level of paved coverage. So we're creating some green space.
Sure.
It's not huge amounts, but it is actually a surplus in green space. So inherent in creating that surplus in green space, we're actually reducing the rates of runoff in the post-development scenario. So there is no requirement to mitigate or store or hold back any of that water. Yep.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Members of the public?
Is there any discussion about the wildlife on the site and what you're going to do to protect it during the demolition?
Well,
That raccoon that we saw last week?
you're talking about animals or people or what?
They'll all get removed.
Be careful, Judith, be careful.
You want to answer that?
The only wildlife that would be aware of, obviously, would be, pest abatement, as part of the demolition, if there's any rat control or anything,
Okay.
That would be it.
Okay.
You are aware that 1,000 feet downstream from where you are, we have bald eagles nesting.
There are.
Are they nesting?
The bald eagles down on the river bend. 2 of them.
Yeah, I've read that.
Pretty
1,000
nice.
feet downstream.
They haven't been there since the heavy snow because there's nowhere for them to feed, but they were
Wonderful.
It's-
serious.
Really is.
I mean, just a point of clarification, one of the things that we have to look at when we file these applications, and it's on the notice of intent form, is are we in a habitat protected area?
Yes.
We are most definitely not here. Despite being adjacent to the river on both sides,
Yeah.
we're not considered critical to any species. And you guys have all seen the priority habitats there. They protect moths and caterpillars
That would
and,
be in a priority habitat. Newton bylaw puts you up to protect the wildlife.
Yes.
We will.
All right, so,
It doesn't elevate it to a federal standard, it's on a local standard.
No.
duly noted, sir, thank you. With no more questions, do we have the assent of the applicant to continue this until our next meeting, April 14th?
Yes, you do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks all.
You made progress tonight.
Sure.